So let's forget everything you think you know about the Book of Psalms. We're not going to treat it like some dusty old text. Instead, we're going to look at what it really is: a raw, unfiltered, and deeply human playlist for the soul. I mean, it was written thousands of years ago, but it still manages to hit every single note of our modern experience.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard this line before. It's comforting, it's peaceful, it's kind of like the gentle opening track on a chill-out album. But here's the thing. That beautiful, serene verse, it's just one song in a massive and often really turbulent collection.
Right, because the Psalms aren't just about peace and quiet. This is a songbook that covers, well, everything. We're talking about gut-wrenching despair, white-hot anger, profound doubt, and then explosive joy and quiet awe. It's a playlist that gives a voice to our highest highs and our absolute rock-bottom lows.
So our journey through this playlist, maybe surprisingly, doesn't begin in the light. It starts in the dark. We're kicking things off with the cries from the depths. These are the songs of pain and suffering that actually make up so much of this collection.
Wow, you can just feel the exhaustion in that, can't you? This isn't some polite, tidy prayer. It's a raw scream into the void, a question just filled with pain and that feeling of being completely and utterly abandoned. It's the voice of someone at the absolute end of their rope, just wondering when all the suffering is finally going to end.
And a huge part of that suffering comes from this feeling of being under siege. The writer constantly talks about being surrounded, attacked. And these enemies aren't just, abstract concepts. It feels like a literal army is closing in on them.
It's almost like the text is making a list of the opposition, calling them out: enemies, workers of iniquity, false witnesses. This isn't just venting. It's an attempt to make some sense of the chaos by naming the very forces that are pressing in from all sides.
So right in the middle of all this pain and chaos, the playlist takes a sharp turn. It pivots. It presents this really stark moral choice, a turning point that ends up defining the entire rest of the journey.
And here they are, the two paths laid out plain and simple. The righteous are compared to a stable, rooted tree that actually produces fruit. It's a life of purpose. But the ungodly? They're like chaff, just light, rootless bits that get blown away by the wind. It shows that even when you're in total despair, there's a fundamental choice you have to make: stability or just aimlessness.
Okay, so after that crucial choice is made to find a more stable path, the perspective shifts dramatically. The focus just explodes outward, moving from that internal struggle to a universe of praise, finding joy and awe in the world itself.
And all of a sudden, the psalmist's view just flips, no longer looking inward at the pain, but outward at the sheer scale of creation. First up, the heavens. And then it expands out to the cosmic order of the moon and the stars, each in its perfect place, just a source of total wonder.
And then it comes all the way back down to the power and mystery of the seas. From the highest heavens to the deepest oceans, everything becomes a reason for praise. This verse just captures that feeling perfectly. It's like the world itself is speaking. The sky, the stars, the very fabric of the universe are all singing this song of glory. It's about finding meaning not by escaping the world, but by looking at it more closely, really looking.
So this whole journey, from despair through a moral choice to this sense of cosmic praise, where does it ultimately lead? Well, it leads to a place of safety, to a fortress for the soul.
The key concept here, the word that keeps popping up, is refuge. But it's not a physical hideout. In the Psalms, refuge is a state of being. It's all about finding this unshakable inner security and trust, even when the storms of life are just raging outside.
And to describe this feeling, the psalmist uses these powerful, really tangible metaphors. God is called a rock, a fortress, a deliverer. I mean, these are images of immense strength and stability, the complete opposite of that flimsy chaff we saw earlier, right?
This security also becomes incredibly personal. It's not just some passive wall, but a shield, an active protector. And that final phrase, the lifter up of mine head, that's so important. This isn't just about survival. It's about having your dignity and your hope totally restored.
And right here, all of those themes just come together. The journey that began with that desperate cry, "How long, O Lord?" now lands on this calm, definitive statement, "In Him will I trust." The psalmist has finally found their anchor.
So, the arc is complete.
This ancient playlist takes us all the way from a desperate cry for help, through a pivotal choice, into this grand chorus of praise for the universe, and finally lands on a quiet, powerful anthem of trust.
You know, the psalmist used poetry and song to give a voice to every single corner of their experience, from the darkest grief to the most profound joy. And it kind of leaves us with a question for our own lives. In a world full of noise, what gives your life a voice? What's on your soul's playlist?